Goose fat is arguably the best-tasting cooking fat in the world. Renowned for its delicious flavor, goose fat has an interesting nutrition profile too, but is it a healthy choice? In this video, we're going to examine the nutritional and health properties of goose fat and some tasty ways of using it. What is goose fat? Firstly, goose fat refers to fat rendered from a goose. Unlike animal fats such as tallow, beef fat, and lard, pork fat, there's no unique international name for goose fat. However, it merely goes by the name of Schmaltz in Germany. This name is also given to lard and tallow, and it's a direct English translation of rendered animal fat. Goose fat has a cream to yellow color, which may depend somewhat on the diet of the geese. At hot temperatures, goose fat has a liquid consistency, but it's semi-solid at room temperature, and it has a thick and creamy look. The room temperature consistency of goose fat looks something like slightly warm coconut oil, but with a more yellow shade of color. In this state, goose fat is soft and spreadable like slightly warm butter. And before we dive deep into the health benefits of goose fat, make sure to subscribe to Big Progress and ring the bell to get notifications about new interesting videos. Health benefits of goose fat. Here is a summary of the benefits that goose fat offers. Goose fat is fairly heat-stable. By total ratio, goose fat contains saturated fat 29%, monounsaturated fat 59.5%, polyunsaturated fat 11.5%. Saturated fats are the most heat-stable types of fatty acids, and monounsaturated fats are reasonably resistant to oxidation too. Polyunsaturated fat can be more prone to oxidation at high heat temperatures, but goose fat only contains minimal amounts of these fats. Overall, the fatty acid ratio of goose fat is somewhat similar to olive oil, which is widely considered to be one of the best cooking fats. That said, extra virgin olive oil also contains a range of polyphenols that provide additional protection against oxidative damage. Unfortunately, there doesn't appear to be any scientific research that directly tests the oxidative stability of goose fat. However, based on the fatty acid ratio and smoke point, goose fat should stand up to high temperatures fairly well. Goose fat is high in oleic acid. Goose fat is more than 50% composed of just one fatty acid called oleic acid. Oleic acid is a monounsaturated fatty acid that the media often call a heart-healthy fat, and it's also the predominant fatty acid in avocados and olives. There's also a wide range of research on the potential benefits of oleic acid. For instance, epidemiological and mechanistic research shows that the fatty acid may have anti-inflammatory and immune-enhancing properties. Animal studies also show that oleic acid may reduce inflammation. Goose fat contains vitamin E. In addition to its fatty acids, goose fat also contains a small amount of vitamin E. Per 100 grams, goose fat provides 2.7 milligrams of vitamin E, which is 0.35 milligrams per tablespoon serving. However, it's worth noting that these are relatively insignificant amounts. For instance, the reference daily intake for vitamin E is 15 milligrams for adults, so a typical serving of goose fat would only offer around 2% of the recommended daily intake. Vitamin E helps to protect fats from oxidation, and it may also strengthen our immune system. The taste. Rather than having any extraordinary health properties, the best benefit of using goose fat is simply the delicious taste. Goose fat makes literally anything you use it with taste better, and it enhances both the texture and flavor of food. Pasture-raised. Although this isn't always the case, geese are often raised outdoors and have access to fresh pasture. This is because the birds enjoy foraging to find their food, which also cuts down on the farmer's production expenses. As a result, goose products tend to be from animals treated well. However, some goose fat products do come from geese raised primarily for foie gras, which some people may wish to avoid. In this case, individual goose fat products for sale should be traceable from their packaging back to the farm from where they were produced. Benefits for women. Goose fat is often used in the treatment of female diseases. It contains a lot of selenium, which helps with uterine erosion, restores the hormonal balance, and has a general healing effect in the fight against infertility. In addition, goose fat relieves pain during menstruation. Many women use goose fat in skincare. Due to the content of fatty acids, the fat softens the skin structure. It is quickly absorbed, so it eliminates fine expression lines and protects the skin from frost. Benefits for men. Since goose fat has powerful aphrodisiac properties, it's used to increase sex drive. It also normalizes blood circulation and strengthens the structure of blood vessels, making them more elastic. Together, these properties significantly improve sexual potency. Also, goose fat relieves hangovers. It has a property to eliminate toxins very fast, preventing the toxicity of the body. Goose fat is a perfect remedy for the treatment of piles and pelvic diseases due to its anti-inflammatory properties. Benefits for pregnant women. During pregnancy, goose fat should be consumed in moderation, only for the treatment of particular diseases. For example, in the fight against cough, when many drugs are contraindicated, goose fat will be one of the most effective natural remedies. Put a lemon in a glass of water and boil for 20 minutes. Then cut the lemon and squeeze the juice into the water. Add 35 grams of goose fat to the mixture and shake well. Consume 1 tablespoon of the remedy before each meal 3 times a day. Thus, you can quickly cure cough and increase immunity without harming your baby. Goose fat for breastfeeding women. During breastfeeding, it's better to give up goose fat completely. It takes too much time to be processed, and when accumulated in the body, goose fat worsens the absorption of vitamin C. This can negatively affect the health of both mother and baby, disrupt digestion, cause heartburn or nausea. When breastfeeding, use goose fat only externally. Benefits for children. What about children? For children under 7 years old, it's recommended to apply goose fat only externally. It will help cope with dermatitis and allergies on the baby's skin. In addition, goose fat copes well with sprains and bruises, which children are very susceptible to. Goose fat is often used when a baby coughs, but for internal use, it is necessary for the child to be at least 7 years old. Due to high fat content, it's dangerous for young children even in minimal doses, since the body will not be able to absorb such a heavy food. And always remember that goose fat has some contraindications, so before using it in children, be sure to consult a pediatrician. The benefits of goose fat in cosmetology. In addition to its use in cooking, goose fat is quite often used in cosmetology to treat dry skin and to protect it from freezing in the cold season. Goose fat comes in handy for a nourishing facial mask that will help get rid of fine lines and wrinkles. To make it, mix the goose fat with camphor oil, stir, wash the face and apply the mask for 30 minutes. Goose fat may also be applied to the skin of the hands. If you treat your hands with goose fat every day, you will get rid of small cracks, moisturize the skin, and provide it with beneficial microelements. Benefits for the face. Goose fat has varied chemical composition, which provides facial skin with beneficial microelements. The substance acts as an antioxidant and anti-inflammatory agent, moisturizing the skin and restoring cellular metabolism. Goose fat also helps to cope with redness and inflammation and eliminates other skin problems like excess sweating. You just need to choose the right recipe. For example, for the facial mask, heat the fat in a steam bath for a few minutes and then strain it finely. Apply the remedy to the face an hour before going out into the cold and wash the remains away in 30 minutes. Thus, the skin will be protected from frost. To make a nourishing mask for the skin, mix 2.5 grams of camphor oil and 25 grams of goose fat. Apply the remedy to the face for 20 minutes and then remove the fat with a napkin and wash your face. You can also do daily massage with goose fat to eliminate the symptom of dry skin. This will ensure fast cell regeneration. Cosmetologists claim that such a massage will help smoothen wrinkles and make the skin healthy and fresh. You may use a mask with goose fat and rose petal for lip care before going to sleep. After a week of application, the lips will stop crackling as they will be thoroughly moisturized. Benefits for hair. Goose fat is recommended for dry and brittle hair by many trichologists. It should be melted and rubbed into the scalp for 30 to 40 minutes and then washed away with warm water. After the procedure, you can rinse your hair with herbal decoction or water vinegar solution. The use of goose fat in cooking. Goose fat is known for its high smoking point, making it a great choice for roast potato recipes. It means that the fat in the roasting tin can get blindingly hot before the parboiled potatoes are added. Alongside this technical benefit, using goose fat gives the potatoes a deliciously rich flavor. Goose fat is an ancient ingredient. Records of ancient Egyptians using goose fat, grease, and feathers date back to 2500 BC. In modern Europe, though, the use of goose fat is most closely associated with French cuisine, in particular southwestern regions like Gascony and Périgord. In recent years, thanks to the approval of certain TV cooks, goose fat has once again become a staple of perfect roasty recipes. A welcome effect of this is that it's now fairly easy to find in larger supermarkets. Preheat the oven to 200 degrees Celsius. Peel and halve the potatoes. Put the roasting tray in the oven to heat up. Place the peeled potatoes in a large pan. Just cover them with cold water, add a pinch of salt, and put the lid on. Bring the water to the boil and cook for 5 minutes. Add the goose fat to the roasting tin and return to the oven for a couple of minutes so that it has time to get smoking hot. Meanwhile, drain the potatoes into a colander, allow them to steam dry, and then toss them about to give them fluffy coarse edges. For a very crunchy finish, dust the potatoes with plain flour or semolina. Tip the potatoes into the roasting tray and cook for 45 minutes, turning and basting every 15 minutes until golden and crispy. Season to taste with sea salt. Storing goose fat. In order to retain all the beneficial properties of goose fat, store it in the fridge in jars with lids for no more than 9 months. You can also store it in the freezer, but in this state, it will retain all its properties for no more than 4 months. These were all the beneficial properties of goose fat. If you've learned anything new, be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below. See you next time!